Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Lightcast webinar on creating and marketing career-aligned programs with Skillabi. I'm John Wanamaker. I'm VP of Marketing here at Lightcast. Thrilled to have all of you join us today and love that you're interested in hearing about Skillabi and the fine work that some of your peers and colleagues are doing with Skillabi and the results they're having with their institutions. I do want to give you an intro to our speakers today. We will be joined on our panel by Ray Sass, who is Senior Vice President of Education here at Lightcast. He and Kara Foley, who is our Senior Product Manager, who's been living the Skillabi dream and developing an experience for you all that I think you're going to be really excited to see today. They are joined by Erin White, who is Director of Institutional Research at St. Catherine's University, as well as also joined by Jenna Obi, who is Director of Program Deployment and Academic Portfolio at Colorado Technical University. Just want to again thank our speakers for being with us today. Thank all of you for joining us today. I think this is going to be a great informative conversation, as well as a good experience into seeing how Skillabi works and to hearing from real people using it with real success. A couple logistical items I do want to just quickly review with everyone. We have a chat feature which will allow you to connect with some of the other attendees today and give you an opportunity to say hello, pose some thoughts, any comments you want to share with all of us attending today. Please use the chat feature. At the end of today's session, we will be doing a bit of a Q&A. So there is a Q&A function here within the platform we're using today for the webinar. So please tap on that for any questions you would like to pose for our speakers. Feel free to pose those throughout the webinar and we'll address those at the end. Just a heads up, we are recording this session today. Everyone will receive both the recording of the session as well as a copy of the slides post the webinar. The next thing I do want to remind everyone of, as part of the attending, for all attendees, part of what we're offering to you is a free program alignment score vis-a-vis Skillabi. This will give you an opportunity to get a sense of where your programs are currently aligned to in-demand skills and where the labor market would indicate how aligned your programs are for skills development and skills in demand. So if you're interested in receiving that free report, there's an icon, polling feature icon. It's in between the chat and the Q&A right there to the right. So just drop a yes in there if you're interested in having one of your programs evaluated and seeing a report that would indicate where and how your programs are aligned and where you may take the program going further with some insights vis-a-vis Skillabi and the labor market data insights provided by Lightcast. With that, our agenda for today is going to include a state of the state from Ray Sass. He's going to talk about why skills, why now. Ray hails most recently from the University of Florida, so he's got great perspective and point of view from his time with the higher ed institutions he's been a part of, as well as the 6 or 7 months that he's been a part of Lightcast. Followed by that will be Kara Foley's deep dive into Skillabi with her Skillabi 101 crash course. And then we'll hear from both Jenna and Erin as they share some insights and some results from how the Skillabi program has been working to develop market-driven programs at their institutions. Followed by that, we'll hit up them for some Q&A. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Ray and let him introduce himself and give you some perspective on the state of higher ed today.
Thank you so much, John. Appreciate it. And thanks for everyone for being here. Can you hear me okay? Okay, great. So again, thanks for being here. I won't belabor this because you all are here and already interested in skills and skills alignment to the labor market. But I think just a little bit of stage setting on why Lightcast is approaching and is invested in this product and approach is not perhaps amiss. The quick takeaway here is the labor market is very tight. We have job shortages in critical industries across the country, and that has been growing. We can go to the next slide here. As I say, I'll go a little bit quickly. Um, Key drivers of that, AI and automation are number one. It is the case now that for the top quartile of jobs, 75% of the skills inside of those jobs has changed in the last 3 years. And that the average job has seen about a third of the skills that are required to do that job change in that same period of time. That change is accelerating, that pace of change. Over the last 3 years, that much change took about 5 years in the prior 5 years. And that took about as long as, that much change took was equal to the change of the previous 8 years. So it's been getting tighter, closer and closer together. We're accelerating the pace of change. Next slide, please. I'll try to find more articulate words. Here, I think there are two things that we're seeing as a result, those of us in higher ed. One is there's an increased skepticism from the private sector that the degree translates to employability. And actually, our newest research is that 60% has now grown to 70%. I don't like that it's from one round number to another round number. It just happens to be the case that it went from 60% of open job postings to 70% of open job postings that no longer list a college degree requirement. And you might say, oh, well, does that just mean that blue collar jobs are are growing at an outsized rate relative to what's happening in traditional degree requiring jobs? And in fact, that is not the case. The BA requirement in jobs that are specific to office work has shrunk as well. So that's on the one hand. On the other hand, we have seen especially changes at the federal level as it relates to both accreditation and funding for higher ed. We've seen still untold numbers, but it's in the neighborhood so far. Estimates are that it's $300 billion leaving the sector over the next 10 years. That's something that we see people feeling very much on the front lines of education today. So next slide, please. What does all that change mean? By the way, I didn't include slides here because I said I didn't want to belabor it, but it's worth noting that our Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, is also saying we don't have an adequate supply of workers to fill the gaps that we're seeing in the 2 slides ago, the job shortage slide. We do not have enough pipeline of people to come and take those jobs and fill them. Skills shifting. What skills are most durable is a logical question when you think about 75% of skills changing inside of the top quartile of jobs. What are the 25% that aren't changing and that are durable? And these tend to be what we call soft skills: communication, management, operations, sales, leadership. But in the top 10 most durable skills, you see things like planning, writing, problem solving, detail orientation, and generative AI is coming at those faster than maybe anticipated. So next slide will just give you a little bit of a flavor of the broader picture. We see skills shifting from skills of the current and past to what are the skills of the next 5 to 10 years. And I know it's hard to see on the scatter plot, and so we've done a call out to the right. But if you look at those skills that are most in demand in this world of technological disruption, those are skills that do tend to come from a classical liberal arts education. Things like resilience and curiosity, creative thinking, leadership and social influence, systems thinking, motivation, self-awareness, empathy, and active listening. These are things that we can deliver as a sector. But it's going to be critically important that we're able to communicate them as skills rather than an assumed attained competence that comes from a degree. And so the message is not let's blow up the degree and only go to skills badging. I think the message is let's make sure that our programs and degrees are able to communicate on the language of skills, which is what the market is shopping for right now. And by the way, what our regulators are looking at is how tethered to supplying market demand are our institutions. Are they doing that effectively? And are they worth the ROI of funding to help address needs in the labor market? So enter Skillabi from there, and I'll quickly, in just a moment, I'll flip it to Kara to talk through this a little bit more. But Skillabi is a way of helping to provide that link. What are the skills demanded in the marketplace that we see, and what is the pipeline of skills coming from the programs that we have and that we're expressing to the market through graduates, and how aligned are we? And John mentioned a labor market alignment score, which is a great first step. How to get started? What do you do first? Well, give me a rough idea of how aligned my programs are to the labor market in key areas or my top enrolled programs. And then we start to think about, okay, well, what types of actions could we take in a strategic planning sense to improve that alignment or maintain that alignment over time? So I'll pull back, but just a little stage set on why we're taking this approach. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Kara, you're up. You're going to share with us what Skillabi looks like and how it works.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Can you all hear me okay? All right, great. Perfect. Well, thank you for teeing us up, Ray. We can go to the next slide. I am happy to share with you a little bit more about how Skillabi works, and we'll share a demo with you of the product itself. So, as Ray spoke to, demonstrating the career relevance of your academic programs is more important than ever before. We are seeing these rapidly shifting skill changes, labor market and occupation shifts, and this is happening often faster even than most curriculum update cycles can keep up with. So Skillabi is designed to address this challenge and to keep your curriculum relevant in real time, with the goal of minimizing the distance between your programs and the labor market. So really minimizing that gap in what's needed. All right, so with Skillabi, we are taking a data-first objective approach to doing this. So helping higher ed institutions and learning providers use data-driven insights as a guidepost to inform program development and program strategy. All right, zooming in a little bit to show you how this works. What we're doing with Skillabi is really recognizing that academic institutions are the experts in curriculum design, and Lightcast's expertise lies in making sense of the labor market with data. So what we're doing is merging together those two worlds to deliver an analysis of your curriculum's relevance to the labor market in a meaningful and actionable way. So here, as you can see in the red dots on the left on Lightcast side, what we're doing is we're taking billions of carefully curated data points from our ever-evolving comprehensive skills taxonomy and occupation taxonomies that describe the picture of the labor market, as well as job posting data underpinning the analyses. So looking at the current state of the labor market with real-time data updates, as well as historic data that we have captured on skills and occupations. And then over in blue, simultaneously, we are ingesting the higher education institutions, curriculum descriptions, learning outcome descriptions, and text to describe the program skills that students are learning throughout the curriculum. As knowledge experts in their domain. And we're bridging those two. So we're making that direct comparison between the skills in curriculum and the skills needed in critical occupations today. So this analysis boils down into a simple yet powerful metric at the core of the product, which is this program to occupation alignment score. So the program occupation alignment score, it is a powerful signal that really answers this question of how job ready are your graduates. You can see here, and we'll zoom in on this a little bit more, but what it does is it describes the strengths of the connection, the level of connection to the labor market, where on a range from 0 to 100, the higher the score means that students are more ready to step into roles. And then the lower end of the range indicates to you that there is a misalignment that can be addressed or strengthened by improvements to the curriculum and how you're describing your programs in relation to the labor market. So you can use Skillabi to start with this score at the core, and then analyze the and identify the skills that you're already teaching that are really impactful for certain roles, and understand ways in which you can revise your curriculum and your descriptions to incorporate those skills that matter. All right, so with that, I will pull up Skillabi and do a brief demo of the product itself. All right, so as you can see here, we have this is the demo site that we are looking at. So it's a set of sample programs. And what we do is for each customer, each institution or learning provider, we will actually import your curriculum text and populate your unique personalized instance of Skillabi. So ingesting that content to describe your programs. And so you would, imagine these are reflective of your programs within your catalog. So ingesting that content, we can, we work with a variety of different program types, both degree granting and non-degree granting, et cetera. And then what we do is once that curriculum content has been populated, we attribute skills to that content. So we extract skills and tie those to the Lightcast skill taxonomy. So for example, here, we in this administrative assistant certificate, there are 43 skills that are currently taught in that program and articulated in the program's descriptions. And then we do that match between the programs and the aligned occupations themselves. So this is that alignment score we were referring to, where you can see a skill to skill analysis comparing those 43 taught skills to the skills in the labor market. And we are surfacing those most relevant occupations that most closely align to the program. So the accounts payable clerk role is 62% aligned in this case. So here you have that portfolio level analysis of the programs, what occupations they are matched to what degree are they matched, and then you can use this insight to dive deeper into a particular program of interest. I also will note, there's a number of ways you can really customize and personalize and hone in with Skillabi, including by honing in on your particular region or location of interest. So if there's a state or even a set of counties that you operate within and want to prepare students to work in this area, you can hone in on that location. You can also adjust the time frame here, which is really interesting. So as you change this data and the time frame, you'll see how the alignment to different occupations actually changes over time. So as we're thinking about emerging skills, you can see, okay, how's my program aligning to those relevant occupations now? And then if I were to go back 1 or 2 years, how has that shifted, and making those time comparisons to see, is my program keeping up, and how is that reflected in the alignment score? Okay. So a number of ways you can just hone in on your particular area of interest, and that will live update the occupation data that you can use to get just a more granular and focused, personalized perspective on your program's comparison to the market. So I'm going to do a quick deep dive into one particular program. So this is a sample program for marketing and digital strategy. I'll show you just a couple of things here that would be of interest. So for each program, you can use Skillabi to really identify those occupations, of course, that are matched. We have what's called target occupations on the right. So this is where you would identify and customize the occupations that you want to focus on, that you believe students should be prepared to go into after completing your program. So in this example, for instance, we have a highly aligned roles at the top, marketing manager, general marketing roles, director and specialists. And then, I am particularly interested, say, in this digital marketing specialist. I can see that it's highly growing within this region. And we want to prepare students in this digital marketing bachelor's degree for a digital focused role. So I might say, okay, I'm going to select this as a target and hone in on this occupation. So I've gone in, I've kind of curated and customized my list. I've identified the occupations that are most aligned and where I want to align to. And then scrolling down, I can actually unpack those skills within the occupations of interest. So I'm going to click on digital marketing specialist here to see, for that digital marketing specialist role, what are the skills that employers are actually asking for in job postings for that role. So you can see here in sorted in descending order, where the most critical skills are at the top. You can see what are those skills that matter for this occupation that I care about, and are those skills taught in this program or not? So again, color coded here, we have green indicating, yes, this skill is surfaced in this program's curriculum content. It was extracted and tied to the skill taxonomy. So, this program is teaching marketing and communication, as well as analytics and management. And then in blue, you can see those gaps. So the skills that are needed for the role, but not actually incorporated into the program or the program descriptive content. So this is an interesting indicator that, search engine optimization is needed in 51% of jobs. It's, being asked for by employers at a high rate, and it's not taught in this particular program. So that's a real opportunity to consider, of the skills that are in demand, which ones might I want to take a closer look at and prioritize incorporating into my program in the way I'm describing my program. What you can do then is in fact modify and customize your program within Skillabi. So say you have identified SEO and social media as important skills to incorporate, you can actually validate and modify the text descriptions directly in Skillabi to see, okay, if I were to add those skills to the role description, how would that modify my alignment score? How would I become closer, more and more aligned to the needs of the role itself? All right, so a number of exciting ways you can use Skillabi. I will switch back to the slides here. And Remy, we can move to the next one. There we go. And I will let our wonderful guests here dive in next as we hear from them about the actual benefits and the way they're using Skillabi. But we see our institution and learning provider customers using Skillabi to both strengthen enrollment as well as student outcomes, and they have a data-driven way to articulate the skills that are needed and take action to strengthen the program and program strategy around those skills and occupations that matter. All right.
Got some questions that are coming in. We'll address those at the end of the Q&A, but thank you again for a great overview of Skillabi. Do you want to just one more time flag, if now that you've seen a little bit of Skillabi, if you're interested in receiving your program alignment score report, please drop a yes into the poll between Q&A and chat, and we'll be sure to hook you up with that free report indicating where your programs are aligning in the way that Kara has just shown you how Skillabi works to help you better align with that. So with that said, we're excited to introduce Jenna Obi from Colorado Technical University, where she is a Skillabi user and a fan. Jenna, we'd love for you to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background and your role and what your life has been like with Skillabi.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. So I'm Jenna Obi. I am the Director of Program Deployment and Academic Portfolio for Colorado Technical University, which is a mouthful and no one actually understands what that means, including my boss who actually invented that title. What it means is that I oversee the program portfolio for how we create, maintain, and if needed, teach out our programs from the university level. We have all of the colleges and college leadership and the faculty who have input on what we teach and how we teach it. And then we have an entire huge operations team that actually implements all of the decisions that they've made. And I'm the one who just oversees that process and makes sure that everybody has what they need in order to work together efficiently. And as managing Skillabi is part of my role. I've actually only been in this role for 9 or 10 months now. And like Skillabi was the first thing they handed me and said, we are not using this to the best way we could. What can we do with this? So I looked into it. I learned a lot about it. Kara and the other reps were really helpful. And I want to share with you today what we actually do with our program review process and how we're using Skillabi to support our curriculum development, really. So first of all, CTU is an online school. We have over 30,000 students, and we offer everything from associates to doctorate in the subjects on the slide here. We are HLC accredited. We are just a really big online school, and we teach a lot of different topics. So we have to stay on top of a lot of different things. So how do we actually use Skillabi? We actually were on the old Skillabi platform when I started playing with it, and our information was out of date because we were not maintaining it very well for a long time. So we decided to start with a fresh start on the new platform that was launched, I guess, a year or two ago. We actually run over 650 courses, and because we're an online school, we have a set syllabus for every single course. So every section of a course teaches the exact same course, all the same content, all the same assignments. And frankly, that made it a little easier than I know some other schools may have to deal with. So we pulled all of those syllabi and we sent them over to Lightcast. They used our catalog in order to determine every program and every course in every program and loaded all the content in and made it look all beautiful. And then we had to do a big cleanup. We called it the Skillabi Scrub. Skillabi is identifying the skills in millions of job postings, and sometimes what they say in the job market doesn't line up with the terms we use in the classroom, especially for courses that were developed, more than 10 years ago, which we are constantly refreshing all of those courses. And we needed to go in and make sure that we were using the right terms, that we matched up with what the industry was saying so that we could have an accurate look at what was actually being taught in our courses. So we did a training. Kara came and did a demo for over 50 people, mostly faculty who actually manage the courses and the people who teach them. And we showed them how Skillabi works. We gave all of them access to it. And then we showed them what we needed to do for a scrub of the content. That was a really interesting demo. And they asked a lot of really good questions. And then immediately were completely confused because this was the first time we were really doing something like this. One of the best things that happened was the day after the demo. One of the colleges was having just a regular team meeting, and they asked me if I could jump in and join them, because they were trying to figure out, how do we do this scrub? What does this actually look like? So I asked one of them to pull up their course and share their screen. And as a group, we worked through that one course and made sure everything was up to date and talked about what skills should actually be listed in the course and played around with the skills library to see what options were available. And it was a lot of fun. But the best part was a point where I said, okay, that course is done. You can check that off your list. And they all got really excited. Like there was an actual shout of joy. Like, wait a minute, that actually only took a couple of minutes. It really wasn't that hard. And once they figured that out and they all started realizing that this was kind of fun because they know their courses and they like to see how everything aligns, it really didn't take that much time to get it done. And like I said, we had over 650 courses to do a scrub on. We gave them 2 months to do it, but the provost made it a priority over some other things. So they really focused on it really quickly. And I think actually 3 or 4 weeks would have been plenty. Most of the colleges had their reviews done within 1 to 2 weeks, because spreading it across all of the different faculty that were involved, and it really wasn't that much work for any individual, and it's really not hard to do. It's a super easy program to use. So we got it all cleaned up. After the scrub was complete, the next goal was to make sure the data didn't get stale again. So at that point, we updated a step in our course development process so that when the course owner is approving the final, whatever has been revised or built in a new development, at the point that everything is final and approved, then they have our workflow pops up with the tasks and says, go into Skillabi and update everything there. And that has proven to be fairly easy. The first couple times we had some training and helped them out, but mostly they're doing it really easy and quickly on their own. And now that we have all of our stuff in Skillabi, we decided it's time to start looking at how we can use this great tool to support our program deployment and also revision. So we had another training. Kara and some other reps came back and did a training again to show how Skillabi works and help reinforce how it's actually working for us, and then talk about how to analyze the data that is there. And they could target the best occupations that they wanted to focus on and see how those skills are being requested in the industry and what we're teaching, and whether or not we might want to improve upon that as part of the next program revision that was planned. So then we actually had a really cool story come out of this. There was a project already underway. The Bachelor's of Business Administration concentration on big data analytics had gotten out of date. When it was developed, it was built, back then you needed to know how to find the data that you were trying to look for and manage all of it. And that is taught in our computer science program now, but it's no longer necessary for our business students to know how to manage big data sets. What they need to do is how to analyze the data and how to do visualizations. So for quite a while now, we've been updating all of those courses and moving it away from the computer science side of big data and into the business analytics side. Well, when they put that into Skillabi, they saw really quickly that the courses that had been updated already were looking good, aligned with the industry, but the courses that were still in the revision queue were not as good, which just justified that we really were on the right track and doing the right thing. So going forward, we'll be using Skillabi data in all of our analysis for program deployment and development. We'll be looking at in our annual reviews of each program, we'll be checking to see what is the industry saying about that program, and are we teaching the right things at this moment in time? And that's how we plan what we're going to revise next. Before we had Skillabi, we were getting that information from a variety of sources. We have industry boards. We do a lot with our faculty because we have hundreds of faculty that we can consult, and accreditation and industry sources. That stuff is still useful. But what I'm seeing that the colleges are doing now is they're starting with the industry data from Skillabi, and then they're able to drill down and hone it to be exactly what our community needs based on that community input. So working together, that's proved a very powerful tool. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I'll turn it back over to John.
Jenna, thank you so much. Really appreciate you sharing that with us and the excitement you have for how it's made a difference at Colorado Technical University. And don't know if we had your job title match to any of our labor market insights, but I'm glad to see that Lightcast and Skillabi are making a difference for you all. Next up, we're going to hear from Erin White from the St. Catherine's University in Minnesota. She's Director of Institutional Research. Erin, same. If you give us some insight into your role, your background, and your experience with Skillabi, we'd love to hear it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here and happy to represent St. Kate's. Here's a little quick look at our numbers. St. Catherine is one of the largest women's college in the U.S. We are the largest Catholic women's college in the US with around 4,000 students each year. We have 3 colleges, 4 schools. I would say we're most known for our allied health fields. Why we're interested in Skillabi, why we signed on a couple years ago to see if we could utilize this tool and make an impact is twofold. One, we're in a super competitive market, like many of you here on this call. You can see we have 10 private colleges within 10 miles. Basically, you just go down the road. You have quite a few options a student has. We're also, similar to Jenna's, we have associate to doctoral programs. So we're competing with our community college, our 4-year public schools, as well as all of our nearby private schools. So we're trying to do everything we can to stand out amidst well-deserving, very popular crowd. The other thing that's really important to us is to continue being recognized as a top performer on social mobility. It's something we're particularly proud of, especially given women in Minnesota still make around 80 cents to the dollar. That we continue to be on that top performer list in a variety of areas is something that's really important to us, and we are utilizing Skillabi for. So each year I do a market scan, which I use another tool that Lightcast offers called Analyst to do that. And I do a market scan of each of our programs to see where are we underperforming, where are we overperforming, and if we're underperforming, what can we do? One program that was surprisingly consistently on the underperforming list for us was healthcare management within our School of Business. We did a quick scan of what are some other top programs out there, what's the difference between our curriculum and theirs, and learned we're very heavy on business, we're very light on healthcare. And so when we're like, okay, well, we need to develop a more robust healthcare portfolio within this program, one of the things I did right away was pull up the My Program report in Skillabi. Sorry, my buttons are clicking on the table. My Program report on Skillabi. And I selected some key occupations, what we thought, okay, what are students that graduate from this program? What are some top occupations that they're going into? Here's one of those occupations right here, the healthcare program manager. This is probably one of my favorite pages in Skillabi. I love it. Here was an early look at what our alignment looked at to healthcare management. We think we'd have real good alignment with healthcare program manager, but we didn't. We weren't teaching some of the top level skills, or what we realized is we were teaching some of these skills. We just weren't calling them out. We weren't speaking the language of skills, so to say. So we know we have program management embedded in this program. So one of the things Skillabi taught us is we need to pull that out specifically, auditing, process improvement. And then we have skills that are being taught elsewhere. So how can we partner programs across our campus to potentially share curriculum and help develop some key, maybe added bonuses throughout courses that we already have? We went back, we made quite a few changes. We lowered the total amount of credits. We became much more health care specific in our course descriptions and content. And that next year that we launched, we had an increase of 44% in our new student cohort. So we thought that was an excellent success story for that particular program. I will say in our first year, I was the primary user, and that was not sufficient to create any scalable change. In 1 year, we probably changed 2 programs, and that was because we didn't have enough people involved in the process. And as we went into our second year, the thing I'm most excited about is a new partnership that was developed between our career services and our School of Humanities, Arts, and Sciences. One of the things that we want to ensure is that we're teaching skills that help students be able to pivot no matter what the future holds. We've already discussed that liberal arts, humanities are actually super well suited for this. A student might not think, oh, I was a theology major and now I'm doing data science as an example, right? You might not think a theology program is going to equip me with skills I need to do data science down the road, but there were several skills that I got that helped me pivot when the time needed. And we want to ensure that we do that, and we actually can communicate that effectively as well. So shout out to Karen, who I think is on this call from our career services. Her and I put together a guide For key faculty, we have key faculty assigned to key programs within our School of Humanities, Arts, and Sciences. And what they're doing is selecting target occupations, and then we're going to be reviewing our scale alignment for each of those programs. Right now, our alignment is really low. It's not where we want to be. And so Skillabi is going to be helping us see, okay, where are those things that we need to call out more effectively, name explicitly on our website, in our course description, in our catalog, and then also where can we partner across the university? I was just in a conversation recently with a history professor discussing, can some of the introductory data science courses count as a math requirement so students can use this required course space to start getting that introductory technical skills that we're seeing over and over and over again make our students really marketable. And this doesn't just help draw students to our campus. One of the things that we see in our student satisfaction surveys every year is they want more conversation around career. They want to be ready for a career. They want aspects of career embedded from beginning to end of their experience. And so Skillabi is helping us be more relevant, more aligned, and explicit in our language use of incorporating these skills into our process. So our faculty are reviewing all of these things this month. You can assign faculty to programs within the system, which is great. It allows for really easy tracking. And so one of the things we'll be watching is that target alignment, that little green circle in the top right. Here's where it started at 22%. And our goal is to get each of our programs to 60% alignment or higher. One of the other things we require throughout the process is if you make changes in Skillabi, as faculty edit Skillabi, and they have positive impact, don't just leave it there. Make sure to go back, edit the website, edit the catalog, edit the course descriptions. And we're seeing some success stories already and excited to see how that partnership continues moving forward.
Erin, thank you. This was awesome.
Sure.
I loved hearing your stories and hearing how your partnerships across campuses are making a difference with Skillabi. So just really happy to hear you're having such a successful journey as you Skillabi at St. Kate's. At some point, you're going to have to tell us how you went St. Catherine's to St. Kate's, one's with a C and one with a K.
Well, we're Katie's. We're Katie's is what we call ourselves.
Okay.
So Kate's the nickname. We call ourselves Katie's, but our official name, St. Catherine.
We were back and forth. I thought we were making typos in our slides, but now it makes perfect sense. Well, thanks again, folks. We have some time for Q&A, and we've got quite a few that have been coming in already. We're going to quickly get to as many as we can of those. I think this first one is best to be addressed by Kara. We've got a question about, does Skillabi compare only with US data, or can it also connect with Canadian data? Asking for a friend in Lakeland University in Ontario, Canada.
Absolutely. This is a quick one and an exciting one in that we offer Skillabi in the US, the UK, and Canada. So, and we allow you to drill down into specific Canadian provinces as well as at the national level. So you get that granularity too.
Brilliant. Very good. Chris just asked a question about, is there a way for a learner to both know and communicate the skills they've learned in the program with employers? Anyone want to take a stab at that?
So Skillabi is first and foremost a institution-facing tool, but kind of as we are hearing from Erin and Jenna and others, you can also communicate the skills gained using that Skillabi data and via career services, communicating with students and incorporating that information. So I don't know, Erin, is it helpful for you to speak a little bit more to that? Not to put you on the spot.
I mean, one of the things I saw right away is like, oh goodness, I'm going to use this to update my own resume. So yes, could career services folks, and I know just another shout out to Karen and her team at the career services at St. Catherine University, St. Kate's. Yeah, we can absolutely use this software in conversation with students as well. Okay, you graduated from healthcare management. We updated everything in the system now, so we have these new relevant skills that we're aligned with. Here's some proof of our skill alignment. What a great tool to put in students' hands, as well as they share their story with using that relevant language, the same as we're trying to share that story also.
Very cool. We have our own story to share internally about our summer intern from the University of Chicago, Madeline, who's been chatting with you all today. She got very excited when she learned what Skillabi was all about and asked this very question: how do I communicate if my courses, my programs have been Skillabied, and putting that on a resume and helping with the job search? So front of mind for learners everywhere, I think. So thank you for that, Chris. Great question. All right. This other question I think is probably a good one for either Erin or Jenna to speak to, around creating a campus-wide culture of career readiness is often a challenge. Did you experience any resistance from faculty? And if so, how did you convince them to be a part of the solution?
Yeah, I'm sure we both had experience there. Did we experience some resistance? Absolutely. Of course, faculty are very invested, as they should be, in their program. And so when you have folks from outside coming to say, hey, let's do this, it'll make our programs better, there's going to be some resistance for sure. I think one of the things that has moved the needle, so to speak, at St. Kate's is our current environment. Folks are very aware that higher ed is experiencing a lot of challenges. We have at St. Kate's experienced declining enrollment up until last year. Last year was the first year in several years that we had increased enrollment across all three colleges, which was a huge celebration. And we want to keep that enrollment as well as our retention and persistence as high as we can. And so in the past, I had been doing everything I can to get faculty to work with me and utilizing these skills and other Lightcast tools. Now they're starting to come ask me, hey, will I look at a program with them? And I think it's the current atmosphere of higher ed is one of the things that's really helping push our faculty along. And then when they see success stories of other programs like our healthcare management, we use Lightcast tools to improve some other programs on our campus, and all of them have seen positive impact as a result of that. And so sharing that story has helped bring other folks along as well.
Yeah, actually, I would say the same thing. It's being transparent about what the tool can do. And then once people actually see it in use and get excited about it, they'll start telling others about it. And it kind of spreads like wildfire from there.
Very good. That's good to know for those of us on a journey with Skillabi. I do have a question here that I think is we're going to ask Ray to address around accreditation criteria and skills sought by employers not always aligning. How can the two be reconciled?
I think that's a really good question. I'm just not sure I totally understood it, John. Sorry. So how? Okay, could you ask me again? I was listening. I just didn't get it.
So it's about accreditation criteria.
Yeah.
And ways that doesn't always align with skills sought by employers. And what are ways that we can bridge that gap and reconcile those two?
Yeah. Okay, thanks. I think I get it now. In light of the moment that we're in with accreditation turbulence, let's say, or potential change, I think it is the case that there's a Venn diagram between what aligns well for accreditation purposes and what is core to institutional mission, and there's overlap. And how you'd love for those to be very tight. You love the institutional mission stuff to consume the entire circle, but not equally sized of accreditation mission stuff. It's not always going to be the case, but hopefully in the parts that overlap, being able to demonstrate outcomes for students that relate to employability and wage earning relative to debt load and things of that nature, I think sets institutions up well for conversations about accreditation, even as they evolve. Enter aligning student skills to the marketplace to help them find those jobs that align with their skills and interests faster, sort of more directly. I think that's a good thing to be able to do. And I think in a moment of accreditation turbulence, being able to demonstrate those types of outcomes will be useful to institutions with whatever comes down the pike. And it felt like a really general, high level response. So I'm happy to try again to refine that if useful, but that's my starter thought.
Awesome. That's super helpful. I think we'll take all of these questions and do a response in writing as we do our follow-up with the recording and the slides, as we did get a number of questions during today's broadcast as well as prior during the registration process. We do have time for another question or two, but I do want to just flag what is on your screen currently. Lightcast has produced 3 bodies of work of late that are imperative to understanding and navigating the landscape today when it comes to the labor market. The Rising Storm report, if you've not seen it, read it, or listened to it, you can scan the QR code here. This demographic drought report is very eye-opening and very important to understanding where job demand is going to be and who's going to be doing the jobs and how we're going to skill them up to do it. The speed of skill change, another report that we released earlier in the year about how swift every job in the United States is changing, how swiftly, and ways to address and be ready for that change. Beyond the Buzz is going to be releasing next week. This is all about understanding AI's impact on the future of work in the labor market. So be sure to scan there as well to get on an early release list, so you are first to understand and comprehend how we see the AI impact on the future of work. Next up, for questions, we have a question coming in around our methodology. So I'm thinking, Kara, this is best for you to take. How are updates in the ever-changing job market monitored and reflected in the data? And also, as an add-on to that, tell us more about the methodology. It is a dynamic skill requirement landscape per changes with AI. And what are you doing differently?
Sure, absolutely. Okay, so great question. So Skillabi, underpinning the data of Skillabi is our job posting methodology. And so what we do at Lightcast is scan, at the national level and, covering the full job posting landscape. So a really comprehensive picture of what employers are actually asking for in terms of the job requirements. And so Lightcast is continually updating and refreshing not only our job posting data, but the skills that are surfaced from those job postings, as well as the skills in profiles from employees across the market. And so we are live updating and refreshing those, and currently have 30,000 plus skills in the taxonomy. And as new jobs are emerging, as new roles and new skills, like the prevalence of emerging AI skills, for example, we are capturing that as part of our broader methodology. We are also accepting submissions for skills to add to the taxonomy, and so really evolving that as we build out our understanding of the labor market, and all of that is reflected in Skillabi. So you saw the time frame filter that I briefly touched on, so you could see live data updated monthly with the latest postings information and the latest job updates, underpinned by our really robust taxonomies.
Thank you. An add-on to that, do colleges provide the program level data that's factored into the analysis? Can you touch on that?
Sure. So typically we offer the ability for Lightcast to actually scrape the program data from the institution's website. So if your catalog is available or just your program web pages are available online, and that's what we would actually use for this free demo too. But we can do that at low to no lift for the institution, and we scrape that content directly from the available web pages. Optionally, you could send us additional information, and many of our partners do have syllabi or course descriptions or more robust program descriptions. So that is optional and not required, but scraping is the starting point that we recommend.
Awesome. All right. Well, folks, sadly, we're out of time. I think we could continue this conversation for quite a bit longer based on the number of questions that have come in. We will, again, cull those and address those in one document so that you can see what is front of mind for others and yourselves and some of the answers there. Do want to give you one last shot at giving us a yes in the chat or in the poll, just indicating that you're keen to learn more about your free program report and how your current program is aligning with skills and demand. And we'll get in touch with you and give you a Skillabi program analysis report. With that, I do want to thank, again, all of our speakers today, but especially our Skillabi users at St. Kate's and Colorado Technical University with some creative titles and some great experiences that you're having with Skillabi, and wish you continued success. Keep the stories coming in. Let us know how we can help you. And folks out there listening today, if you're keen on hearing more from either Aaron or Jenny, please get in touch, and we'll give you some more insight into how Skillabi is working for them. Ray, thank you. Kara, great job in both the work you've done in developing Skillabi and this new experience for everyone, and for spending time with us today, and for all of you who've joined us today. Really appreciate your time and interest, and look forward to talking Skillabi with you in the near future. That is all. Thank you so much.